pay your way to come to different centers to go do a study there. Is there any other questions? Okay, I was just going to have Steve, if you want. We got a group of some of us came to a meeting. We talked about creating awareness, more awareness for IPF, and we each had different assignments. There's a questionnaire that's put out by the state that talks about disease activity, and we were going to hopefully put the question was how many have you had IPF or do you have IPF? But the price to do that was like $1,000 to add this question to this survey that the state does, and we weren't sure if that was the most effective question to ask to just find out about what the incidence of IPF is in Utah. But where we are, so that was one thing that did not work out for those of you who are wondering about that questionnaire. So it was just too prohibitive, and our office doesn't have the funds right now to do that. We weren't sure why the state would charge the state to do a question, but they did. So, yeah. So, anyway, so Steve, we were just talking about different ways to create awareness. So if you want to just come up and tell them what you did, or if you want to stay there, you can.
Well, very briefly, we put a little group together, kind of ran right by Anita here, and we were trying to decide or focus on what we can do for ourselves as patients. Because, we've got all these studies notwithstanding. Obviously, we need more if we're going to find the answer. And if we need more, the best way we can help ourselves, I think, in our decision, is to provide accurate information to these companies so they know what they're hunting for. If they know what they're hunting for, they got a much better chance of finding them. So what can we do for ourselves? We can't create the medicines. We can't do all the studies. The big problem that we have is there's not really a lot of accurate information. You can go out to 5 different websites, and you can find out that there are 5 different numbers of people who have IPF in this country, 5 different numbers of people who die in these countries. And there's no accuracy because we have no national registry. We have no national registry because not enough people know enough about IPF to push the buttons to get the national registry. Now, I've gone out and I've contacted a whole ton of legislators, and I get about 20% lip service in a standard letter in return, but that's about all. I get some Democrats. Anyway, so the best way to go about this in our estimation, and in any estimation, any marketing scheme, is to just throw everything you can against the wall. If it sticks, it's going to create awareness. And we're not going to get a national registry until we get that awareness. So I've been writing letters to a lot of folks, and the one thing I did, about the only thing I'm getting published so far, is my insurance company that puts out a quarterly booklet to all the insurers. They had in the summer edition, they had a 2-page spread on respiratory conditions. One page was lung cancer, the other page was COPD. IPF didn't get a look. So I wrote and I said, why not? Why don't we get some coverage? We get a lot of folks this, and we've got no way out of it. And my tone of the letter was such that, why don't we push the button to get the legislators to create a national registry for us? Well, they called me back and they said they'd love to publish the letter and get a physician's response, but they wanted to edit the letter. So any sort of awareness is better than none at all, so I said, okay, go ahead. So the tone of the letter that's going to come out in the fall edition is different than the tone of the letter I sent, but it's still awareness. The tone of the letter that will come out will say, if you're short of breath or you have a dry cough, blah, 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 see your doctor and talk to him about IPF. Ask him to consider that as a diagnosis. Because a lot of doctors out there, and I'm sure we'd all be amazed, have no idea. You get a dry cough, and then maybe the last thing you'll ever think of is IPF. And if you don't bring it up, who's going to? So they're going to publish that letter, and I don't know what kind of response the physician will put in there. But at least it's going to be a little bit of awareness. We've got to have that awareness. Now, I've been trying to come up with all kinds of ideas, and others in our group have been trying to do the same thing to do this. And sometimes you just have to go out there and think you're in a carnival. I thought about taking I've already taken some steps in this. I thought about taking my RV with a couple of signs on it and going to some state fairs, county fairs, this kind of thing, and creating some fun breathing games, blowing up balloons and stuff like this. And in doing so, I've contacted several of the county fairs. It was just too late this year. Summer's almost over. But for next year, they promised me I can have a spot if I want to do that. And I'm going to create something, but I want to create some awareness. And all of us can do these little things, and it takes no more. Start with your local little newspaper if you're in a little town or whatever, and go talk to somebody and say, hey, I've got this. Now, do you know what it is? 90% of them will say, no, I have no idea. Tell them what it is. And tell them to tell everybody else what it is. This, in my mind, is the one important way that we can really help ourselves.
Have you talked with American Lung?
Sorry?
Have you written or talked to the American Lung Association?
I have talked to them, yes.
Have they given you any response?
Not one that I want to put a bunch of money on right now. I haven't discontinued my talks with them, however. They're a pretty massive outfit, and they have they're pretty directionally oriented. And IPF isn't big on their scale right now, but I want to change that.
Couldn't they help in getting a register?
That I don't know. That would be more at the national level. I'm talking at the local level right now. At the national level, I think it's up to, we've got an IPF.org that should be coordinating with the Lung Association at the national level, I think, get something done there. That's above my pay grade right here in town. The other thing is, do you still have some spots left, you say, in the Fibrogen? If anybody interested in pursuing the Fibrogen, I was fortunate enough to get in the study. I had my first infusion 2 weeks ago, and it's kind of neat. They put you in a lazy boy, plug a little thing in your hand, and you lay there for 2 hours, watch television, or read a good book with Molly holding your hand. And then you get up and leave, and that's all there is to it. I've got to do it how many more times?
50 more.
50 more times. Something like that.
You're feeling better.
The first one was 2 hours when they filled me up. And the next one, I think it's just a minor oil change. Like a half an hour. But it's not so bad. Let's just, if you try to get in any clinical study you can, because we've got to find an answer for this. I know there's one out there. And as far as natural foods, I've been a natural food guy a good part of my life. And I've got a nutritionist who's been taking care of me for a long time. She swears by it. The Chinese have been doing this for many, many years. I'm actually working with a Chinese fellow right now that gives me herb pills and stuff like that. I don't know if it'll work. But I'm going to throw everything I can at this thing and find out. And I encourage you to do the same. Don't overlook anything. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Yes.
Just quickly, from a positive standpoint, I guess I'm one of the old timers here. I've lived too long to get in any of the studies, but
So you could get a cell gene and Fibrogen.
BI.
BI? Is it BI that doesn't have a time limit?
Oh, wait,
Okay. Okay, cell gene. No, anyway, they do not have time limits.
but when I look back, even 7 years ago, the amount of information that was out there, it was really pretty limited. We've made a lot of progress in those 7 years. It's just amazing to me how much information is out there now, even though it is contradictory at times. But it's out there, and the number of doctors that are aware of IPF now compared to 7 years ago is just amazing too. And the National Institutes of Health, they're aware of us. the National Registry push, the push is on, but the latest figure that I got from the Hill was like it costs $10 million to get a national registry going for IPF. I don't know why it's so expensive, but in this era of we'll only fund the things that really seem important, affecting a lot of people, it's a national registry is tough for us. The positive side, again, in September, IPF week on the Hill. There'll be lots of representatives, lots of IPF patients, meeting with senators and with representatives in the House, and a lot of strides are being made. Senator Crapo from Idaho, and Senator Murray from Washington. These two are working in the Senate now together. That is tremendous progress getting that. And Senator Crapo's brother is a national Jewish doctor who is really obviously aware of IPF, being one of the leading senators for IPF in the nation. So think positively. There are a lot of good things happening. And maybe you won't be able to get into some studies because you've been alive too long. That's good news, by the way.
I think the National Registry bill passed the House. It's in the Senate. That's where
It hung up there last year.
it went up there last year.
Well, they couldn't find sponsors because of the amount. But now, after the elections have been over, Patty Murphy is back in, and she won her election, Crapo on board. It looks good for, even with the economic conditions, that will make some progress. Because it seems that a national registry would be so important to getting the word out.
Well, like Steve said,
And finding
Get out
places
there.
to zero into.
keep punching,
Yeah.
get the letters going, every chance you get, make somebody aware of it, and get those congressmen to get up off their butts.
But if you've ever been in one of their offices, though, and their legislative assistant on health, I mean, they're bombarded all
Oh,
the
I'm
time.
sure.
A couple of years ago, when I was back at the IPF week on the Hill, they also chose to have the Pink Ladies, the IPF on the Hill the same week,
Yeah.
and talk about being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We have to cough a little louder than usual to see some attention. But there is a lot of good things. A lot of good people doing a lot of good things.
Speaking of good people doing good things, Myrna, you want to come up? Or did you feel like you wanted to